We have both
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Jumped
Quarterback
ahead
Garrett.
there.
Good morning, mug. So slurpy. And by the way, this has a little film on the top of that. It's one of the older mugs.
So you're a fan of
I
film.
sprayed it with
So,
COVID.
Yeah, did you spray it with the
did.
COVID?
It comes in spray form
It's an
now.
anti-sanitizer.
Really, yeah.
I figured we'd give it a try.
It's the opposite of what you would like. Today, we have a bunch to get to today.
Yes, we do.
So we have Joe Biden, the raping. We have
more.
Yeah,
Ra-
we have some more updates on COVID, and we have a live roast with our Jocko correspondent of Jocko Willink on the show later today. But first, we have my half Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond, here.
Hello.
Who, compared to everybody else, he stands very erect. Do you notice that?
He does.
He stands erect for the kingdom he protects. Goes much higher to please his royal sire.
What is this?
The ballerinas must pirouette upon their musical
What is
wheel.
I don't know
happening
what
right
is
now?
this. At what point-
Somebody help me.
The teddy bears must make the kings forget all of his kingly woes.
That was the gayest
It's
copyright strike we've ever had.
I do not remember that song from Arthur.
This is the show, guys.
Yeah.
This is the show.
Excuse me, sir.
Actually
You're breaking
live.
your own law. Reference Burgermeister Meisterburger. Let me know if you understand what I'm talking about. By the way, we will be reading your chat live. My question of the day for you is: this is the last Good Morning Mug Club.
Yeah,
Mug
it
Club
is.
Quarantine Month. Of course, hashtag Mug Club Quarantine.
real.
You can enter in the promo code Quarantine. You get $30 off until the end of day tomorrow.
Yep.
Yes.
And if you want some more Good Morning Mug Club, when we come back, we're taking 1 week off next week. We've talked about that. Let us know. Let us know if you'd like us to do more of these going forward. If you want a hybrid of this and the late night, it's an experiment. It's one big experiment.
Need the feedback.
I had a
Come
lot of
on.
fun.
Quarter Black Garrett is here. Audio Wade is here, panicking about something. Look,
Not
he's leaning
panicking.
into Goebbels over there. G.
convincing.
Morgan, no wine for you today?
No wine. It's too early for. Well, no, it's not.
Wow. Gerald.
I just judged millions out there holding glasses.
So
of wine.
Quarantine is a promo code. Of course, subscribe to Crowder Bits on the YouTube and the podcast. A lot of people don't know you can download the podcast on audio here. The Apple Podcasts, the Android, the
SoundCloud.
Spotify, the podcast Stitcher,
the Cricket
Catcher.
Podcast
Exactly.
station.
the
Pinterest
Podcatcher in the Rye.
That's good. Dangerous.
Really an overrated podcast.
It really is. Yeah.
It's really an overrated mechanism, the Podcatcher in the Rye. Did anyone here actually have to read that? Like, I don't understand who that
Yes.
appeals to unless you're a serial killer.
I thought it was just punishment.
Mel Gibson.
By the way, chat only for Mug Club members. They're watching live at BlazeTV. Everyone having a good week so far?
Yeah,
Fantastic
great week.
week.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Gearing up for tomorrow. Tomorrow we
Oh
have a
my
4-hour live stream of the briefing and fact-checking the CNN.
I don't know why we do this to ourselves. I think
don't want
really
to.
it's your fault.
Well, it's because
more than anything.
we can all remain employed.
That's true.
yeah,
Okay, fine.
Speaking of which, Poppy Harlow's on. Oh, coronavirus
Poppy.
pandemic. Oh, no.
Boy. Breaking
Has
news.
anyone else noticed that on CNN there's like 19 minutes of commercials?
There are.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a few stories to get to. The big one, obviously, and I was kind of keeping it under my headphones here.
Right
Yeah.
there.
Let me pull it out.
All right.
It's about YouTube and Facebook coming together to remove the wrong think. They had some doctors there, from Berkeley, California, from Bakersfield, California, sorry.
Bakersfield area.
And it's not even Fresno. And they got their stuff removed where they were talking about the patients that they were treating.
Huge
But
story.
first, before that, remember the Chloroquine, the fish tank cleaner lady?
Yeah.
And we said that she actually hated Donald Trump.
Yeah.
She hated her husband.
Exposed.
And she knew that it was not chloroquine; it was fish tank cleaner. And then we called the NBC reporter, who was, sort of the original source for this. We said, you know what? I think this woman's a new Carol Baskin, and someone
Carol
should
Baskin
start-
2.0.
Someone should run an investigation into this broad. Well, guess what? Now it's happening.
Turns out
Fish tank cleaner lady is
going
being
down.
investigated for homicide.
Look at
Yes,
this.
indeed.
Yeah.
Good. Well, and we called it early on.
Yeah.
All of us were like, this sounds a little weird. I don't think this actually
Well, it turned
happened.
out now the husband. So to be clear, to recap, she said that she drank fish tank cleaner. Her and her husband, they
Right.
both drank it together. Like a Romeo and Juliet.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Only it was really just
Arms locked.
it was really just if Juliet said, "Okay, Romeo, down the gullet. Fish tank cleaner's good. Fish tank cleaner's good."
I'm right behind you.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm
worry.
right behind- exactly.
I got
I'll drink
you.
mine in just a minute.
And then John Leguizamo was speaking in Shakespearean. Was he in the Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio?
no.
I don't think so.
It was terrible. But the original story was she really loved Donald Trump, so she trusted Donald Trump, and they both drank fish tank cleaner, and her husband unfortunately died, and no one else should trust Donald Trump. We did some digging. Turns out she hates Donald Trump. She's an anti-Trump activist. She's donated to Democrats, and she actually hated her husband. She has a history of domestic abuse. She was charged with it. She has a history of violence. She has a history of mental health disorders. And now we know that her husband, turns out, was actually a really smart engineer. So you know,
So not a dumb guy.
you would assume if she's like, hey, drink this fish tank cleaner, he'd have a couple questions.
He's like, no, I just want to make sure. Is this one of those moments where you love me or where you're going to beat me?
You know what, though? It also could just be, they might investigate and find out it was a suicide. She was like, hey, do you want to drink this? Yep. By the way, my will is giving it all to charity, like a Warren Buffett. You get nothing. So he was an engineer, and now they're investigating it for homicide.
Well, and what's funny is that all we were doing was really digging into this to prove a point. Like, this person didn't do this because of Donald Trump. Like, that was the story.
I was half joking.
Right.
I was half joking, and now they're like, no, listen, thank you.
Very, very prophetic.
Oh, God. Did you have anything else on the, I thought you were bringing up the article.
Well, I have the article in here, but there's not a whole lot of information right now. The Mesa City Police Department, they are investigating it. They're just saying that they can't say anything right now because it is an ongoing investigation. And so that means, like, okay, this isn't that they're just like taking a kind of a quick look at it. They've actually opened an investigation into this. And so I guarantee we're going to find out something shady went down here.
Yeah.
We don't know a whole lot about it yet.
And you know what, again, these are the same things that reporter could have done.
Right. Exactly.
Or the like 75 other outlets that were like, oh, yeah, that sounds totally plausible.
This passes the sniff test.
No question.
Mainly because Don Lemon's sniffer is stuffed with cocaine and ass hairs. It's a thing.
Really?
No.
I don't think it is.
But it could be. And if someone were to do that thing, it would be Don Lemon. By the way, does anyone else find it funny that Brian Stelter is part of a primetime lineup? He's part of a lineup that includes Brian Stelter. Here's the thing. I don't despise you, okay? And just for the record, everyone knows I've never challenged any of them except for Chris Cuomo, because his go-to is like, I'll kick your ass. Okay, pick me. But Brian Stelter, you are in a lineup that includes Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper, and you are clearly the gayest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd never thought of it that way.
I think of it that way all the time.
Wow.
That's, as a matter of fact, I think of everything else through that. It's like, it's not even a lens. It's like a cheesecloth. Stelter is gay.
All I see is the fact that he's the least talented of the three. I mean, it's hard to really focus on anything else.
Well, takes a lot too.
Chris Cuomo is vying for that title.
I know, but
not to be outdone.
But I at least can laugh at him.
Yeah.
With Stelter, I'm sad for him.
Stelter is like, he's unwatchable to me. Like,
Yeah.
I could watch Cuomo a little bit and I would just hate what he's saying, but when I see Stelter talk, something about it.
And then really quickly, I want to move on to the YouTube and Facebook removing these doctors' videos. But right now, we go to CNN. Look, these airlines are now demanding that all passengers wear masks. This is remarkable because I was driving down the freeway today and I saw one of those, what are those billboards, digital billboards that sort of rotate? And it was saying, wear your masks.
Yeah.
And hold on a second. You told us the opposite of that. You said it was dangerous to wear masks. And by the way, we questioned the experts here. We're going, hey, you know what? If you know how to wear a mask, we try to instruct you on how to put it on properly, it can protect other people. And the Surgeon General said, no. Don't believe the conspiracies online. Trust the World Health Authorities and us. And now they're out there. They want to make it illegal to not wear a mask.
Exactly. And it's like the airlines are like the last 4 people on Earth to realize that it's a flying petri dish. Right. And that we should probably take some precautions. Well, I don't think the coronavirus...
That air is just recycled.
And you know, the crazy part is if you go back and look, I've started doing this a little bit. The folks who are the most vehement about, Trump has told us to inject Lysol, et cetera, and they keep repeating these claims. And I actually do. It's like this game of telephone where someone has passed an article, that passed a post, that passed another one. But at the end, it's like, we decided we're going to take baths in Lysol. We're going to drink it every day like a regimen, and then we're going to use our vagina-smelling candle. Thank you, Gwyneth Paltrow. But when you go back and look at what...
I don't know that I'd thank her.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Okay, I take that back.
Yeah.
But when you look at people who have posted about this, these are the exact same people who 30, 60 days ago were going, if you buy a mask and you wear it right now, you are destroying America.
Right.
And it's like, wait, hold on, guys.
Yeah.
Wait, so when did we decide that masks
you
were
are
a terrible
causing
thing?
more harm than good?
Exactly.
They said surgical masks that weren't N95 masks were harmful, and then they were like, you know what? You can make it from a T-shirt or a scarf. Wait, what?
Hold up.
You guys said not to wear the actual masks, and now you're telling us how to make a mask?
Oh, the condescension that comes with if you're going to try and make a mask at home. No, if you don't have an N95, you're a communist,
right?
Or like some terrible,
you think you're protecting yourself and you're not.
Exactly.
Right?
So it was don't wear a mask. Now make sure you wear a mask. But if you don't wear the right mask, we're going to judge you. And the only thing that's the common between then, in the middle, and now is judging. Condescension.
That is true. You know, the worst thing about this whole pandemic is the judgment, also the deaths. But let's go to the the story of YouTube and Facebook. Wade, are you here? Are you with us, Audio Wade? He's so quiet today. I don't know what's going on. He always panics
Like
right
a
before the
mouse.
show disappears, and then he shows up like 30 minutes in.
I'm just happy.
You know,
He's
like,
going to pounce in just a minute and steal your
happy
soul.
means very
Look,
quiet.
I told you, you can't keep Audio Wade happy because then he just sits there contentedly smiling.
You got to piss him off
I
just
gotta
a
sit
little
next
bit.
to it. It's creepy.
That's also why he's no longer allowed on public transit.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah. That's true.
He's like, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm just,
Sir, hands.
Everybody's
where are
scared of
your
that
hands?
guy.
I just ride the L train back into the station and back out. So this really is disturbing. We talked about it yesterday, and when I talked about it, I think it had only been removed from YouTube or Facebook, one or the other. Now it's been removed from both. Had over 5 million plays, okay? So this was a video clip of 2 doctors in Bakersfield, California, who run an urgent care clinic, and they were talking about the thousands of patients with COVID who they had treated, what they had observed, and they were expressing their opinions on what they thought would be the appropriate course of action moving forward. YouTube and Facebook determined it to be a violation of their community guidelines.
Unbelievable.
And they removed it. So, because I double dog dare you to remove it here, I want this to live on forever. Let's see a little bit of this clip.
We have both been in the ER through swine flu and through bird flu. Did we shut down for those? Were they much less dangerous than COVID? Is the flu less dangerous than COVID? Let's look at the death rates. No, it's not. They're similar in prevalence and in death rate. So we are saying that our response now that we know the facts, it's time to get back to work. What's interesting to me too is when someone dies in this country right now, they're not talking about the high blood pressure, the diabetes, the stroke. They say, did they die from COVID? We've been to hundreds of autopsies. You don't talk about one thing. You talk about comorbidities. Their vessels were narrowed. Their lungs were a smoker. COVID was part of it. It is not the reason they died, folks.
Okay, calm down there, Himmler.
What amazes me is that they're saying what this show has been saying the whole month.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, technically,
Amazing.
also last month.
Yeah, we've been saying
that's
this for a long
technically, yeah.
time. Honestly,
March
it's,
15th.
why do you think we haven't been removed? Do you think it's because you've gotten a little litigious?
I think yes.
They
Yeah.
threw the crack.
It's
They threw the
definitely
crack in, yeah.
That's what
only-
Gavin McGinnis said on
only
the show.
me.
He's like, frankly,
Yeah.
I think it's changed because he said he thought his channel was still up because of you.
Yeah.
That's what Gavin McGinnis said.
So
It
should
is-
I send him an invoice or?
Yeah. Send him my invoice.
Okay, done.
For work, I don't know that I perform, but I think I did.
But let's look at these numbers really quick. Is anything that they're saying wrong? Because it's a violation of community guidelines. Now, I can understand
Right.
if it's a violation of community guidelines because what he just said was false. Right?
Right.
Like if he's
Right.
sending someone with an AR-15 into a pizza parlor for a basement that isn't
Not good.
actually there.
Yeah.
That'd be bad. That would be a bad thing. I
Not
think
good.
we'd all agree, no. Don't go in with a semi-automatic
Yeah,
rifle
don't do that.
into a pizza parlor if they don't have a basement. If they have a basement, then we leave the choice to you. So
close.
in the
Pulled it right
2016 to 2017 season, there were over 61,000 flu deaths, okay?
Yeah.
And this is what was so remarkable. When you research this, and I encourage everyone else to do it, the original estimates were 80,000.
Yeah.
There were 80,000 deaths. And those were actually, they weren't estimates, they were listed, and then they reduced them.
Right.
So that gives you an idea as to, and they do that almost every single year with flu deaths, by the way, because we do not measure death rates very effectively in this country. So they go, oh, flu death, then they go, oh, wait a second, the guy had
Yeah.
lung cancer,
Something else.
and they take it off the list. Undoubtedly, that should happen with the coronavirus deaths, especially since flu deaths have gone down to 0 and they're all registered as coronavirus deaths.
Right.
So the same thing should apply here. So that's actually correct. And then if you look, the antibody studies, which now some people are saying are not valid, but nothing has been valid at this point. Your
right.
testing hasn't been valid. The numbers from China haven't been valid. We have many different antibody tests right now. We have, I think, like 160 something antibody tests. Now, they haven't all been cleared by the FDA. Some are giving us too many false positives. I'll grant you that. But even then, let's split the difference. It's still a fraction of what you thought. All of these tests indicate a 0.5% death rate
Right.
tops. You know who else said that? Cuomo. That's what he quoted. 0.5% death rate, which I thought was weird because I calculated. I always try and take the most conservative number or the number that gives the left sort of the most amount of leeway when we do this because otherwise people will fact check us. This happened, it went back to Detroit when I said the unemployment rate. Actually, it was the other way. I said the unemployment rate was 27.5% in Detroit, if you go back to my original video. And then someone came out and said, actually, it's 28.1. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm even more right.
And by the time the video was released, it took 3 weeks to produce. It was 45%.
Oh, my God.
It had gone up. Half of all people in Detroit were unemployed. So now the whole country is Detroit. Congratulations,
There you go.
leftists.
Yes.
Your utopia is now the rest of the country. We can all, too, soon be Detroit.
No, we don't want to be Detroit. No.
Flu is generally 0.1%. So 0.5% to 0.1%. High end is 0.5. The flu is 0.1%. And this is pretty important, too. Not only was this censored, and then I'll toss to the audience here, but there was a medical research center. They announced that they had plans to look into UV light therapy, similar to what Donald Trump described. Now he said it
The best lights.
He didn't say, eloquently. The best lights. They could be Christmas lights. Because, listen, it can be Christmas all year long if you keep it in your lungs, folks. And YouTube removed the company's video describing the treatment. This is about endoscopy, where they go down your throat and they could actually put UV light into your lungs to clear it out. That was also removed. This is a video of a company that is working on this treatment right now, and that is removed as misinformation. They didn't even make claims yet. They're just saying, hey, this is something we're exploring. It could work. So doctors who are seeing patients, 5 million plays, removed Facebook, YouTube. By the way, how much do you want to bet that Facebook and Google had a meeting?
And said,
yes, not one that they would ever admit.
Right.
Sounds possible.
They had a meeting about contact tracing. Like, oh, by the way, we're going to remove doctors who are skeptical. Oh, of course.
They don't,
check people's
Why
phones.
wouldn't we?
they don't agree with that Imperial Doctor Guy Ferguson fellow from England. Well, of course we're going to remove it. So that's the juxtaposition right now. You've got two doctors who have come out and said, guys, all we're doing is presenting the only data that we have available. And it doesn't line up with somebody who came out and said, I don't actually have data. I have a model. And I have a model that has been historically, horrifically, I was wrong, not hundreds of thousands, millions of deaths off, right? Every single time we run this thing, it's bad. And they're coming out and saying, these guys don't need a platform because they're not agreeing with the models that we have. Right? And the only criticism that's being leveled against them right now is that
hair plugs. One of them had really bad plugs.
Maybe. Right. But they've been attacked universally by just about everybody. In fact, my wife was very upset about this last night because people were attacking them, but not saying why.
Your wife's always upset. She wakes up next to you.
Well, that's usually a happy thing.
By the way, has anyone here ever had their wife get mad at them for something you did in their nightmare?
Yeah, every week.
God.
That's actually a thing.
I was like, you are an insane person. This isn't me. I didn't do it. It's a figment of your imagination.
In your head. Yeah,
every
exactly.
single time.
But the only criticism is that these are all people who presented with symptoms or who were somewhat symptomatic thinking that they needed to get a test. Well, if 80% of people are asymptomatic, wouldn't that way over counterbalance that number? Right. So maybe they're saying that this isn't a representative sample, but it actually probably is.
Keep in mind, too, Dr. Fauci an expert? Sure, absolutely. Yeah. He hasn't seen a patient in 20 years. Right. These people are seeing patients every single day. Yeah. Shouldn't we have one person out there, whose data is being included, who is actually seeing sick patients and able to follow up on them?
And the craziest part about this is it's not that we're saying this person is right. We're saying you should consider the data that they are providing from being boots on the ground, right? Every single day, these sources, whether it's left or right, are saying we should take some information, empirical data from the hospitals and use that information to better create our models and understand what we're doing. Except here, YouTube has said, well, this one doesn't match our agenda. So let's just go ahead and keep that one out.
It goes against the World Health Organization.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But even think about what the World Health Organization does. All they do is they go ask other doctors, hey, so what are you seeing out there? Tell us what your data is.
Hold on a second. I don't want to be fact-checked.
Okay.
They never ask for input from Taiwanese doctors.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
Okay, fair. It's fair.
They never in fact, when it's offered, they
that doesn't overlap in the Venn diagram. No, it's just the Taiwan circle. It's boop, 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 boop.
There is no Taiwan circle.
Way out.
Hey, what about me? No,
but
sorry,
all
Taiwan.
we want to do is hear. All people want to do is be able to hear it and understand it and make their own decisions.
Right.
But instead, Susan Wojcicki has decided that she is the arbiter of truth as it relates to health information.
And what a schnoz! Also,
You're not wrong.
You know what? I feel like a teacher. Pass your notes, Goebbels and audio.
geez.
Wait, what's going on?
Yeah, we just got
the
a
whole
chat.
time we're doing
No,
this.
there's a lot of
Hey.
Well, let
chit-chat over
Goebbels
here.
handle the chat audio. Wade,
lot of
you're a
chit-chat
funny guy.
going on.
We got a fun
Wade
chat.
has all these funny things before
does.
air, and then he shuts up on air, and it's like people will never know how funny he is.
Well, they should.
Well,
They should
no.
know.
I
No, they
do-
should
Hey,
know.
we should just get their love notes and read them aloud.
Yeah, we should. Be like, hey, what are you guys talking about? They're going to unfold it. It's just like, well, you just drew tits. This has nothing
no,
to do
that's
with
not how you
Like
draw.
you
it.
said.
No, that's tits with COVID.
Hey, real quick, can we turn on to CNN real quick?
Oh, what's happening in
yeah.
CNN?
Okay, did y'all hear about this
Oh, I
story?
love this.
So, yeah, you know, de Blasio decides to
Hold on a
criticize.
second. How funny is it to see sideburns next to a surgical mask? I'm sorry, I don't know why.
is pretty good.
I
It's
liked
just
it.
fun. It's
It's a
just
little comical.
no disrespect. It's just a funny visual.
It is a funny visual.
It'd be like seeing an Amish man with a smartwatch. There's just something bizarre. It's two universes colliding. Go ahead.
So look at this message. My message to the Jewish community. So you had a number of folks going, there are hundreds of thousands of Orthodox
Wow.
Jews in New York, and
Yeah.
a couple hundred decide to go celebrate a rabbi and a funeral. All of them wearing masks, you know, certainly not
Right.
engaging in social distancing. Even though, you know, there are tens of thousands of other people who are every single day in
Right.
the city of New York who are getting together, who are not getting dispersed
On a
by the
subway.
police. De Blasio actually went down there and then said a series of tweets that was like, hey, all of you Jews, you're doing things badly. And all the rest, you know, like all the rest of the city was like, okay, wait a minute. If someone's doing something wrong,
Hold up, bro.
okay, but you decided to call us out?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you want to just call us out over this? I don't know. This sounds crazy. You sent the police to disperse us on grounds that you're not doing on anything else. What does this remind
By the
me
way,
of?
it wasn't.
seems familiar.
It wasn't the police. It was actually just Ilhan Omar in a face mask.
Oh my
She was
God.
Ilhan Omar in riot gear, and
That's
someone
scary.
tried to put a daisy in her rifle, and she blew him away.
Blown
Oh,
away,
she
yeah.
did.
She's
She's
Yeah.
been sitting on the sidelines like, put me in, coach.
Me? With Orthodox Jews in New York? No. Ilhan Omar. You know, listen.
Oh my gosh.
You know, she's in New York. Maybe she could get hit by a truck, but we don't want that. to
No,
happen.
we,
it's just
we
a
would never
possibility.
say
It's a lot of vehicles.
that.
Also, I would imagine
Ever.
that the sideburn curls would protect the virus from getting in your ears. A lot of people don't know this.
True.
The hair in your nether region is designed to keep bacteria from getting into the places that you don't want them to.
Oh.
So that's what. There's probably a hygienic reason for the curls.
Intelligent design.
By the way, how do they do that? Maybe we should ask. How do Orthodox Jews do the curls? Do they
Yeah,
get,
a
do they
curling
get a
iron.
curling iron?
Curling
It's
irons,
gotta be,
or they
right?
Put those little like things in there, make them hot. You know, like,
Do they get,
like an
or
old
are
lady.
are the men going to sleep like the
Curlers.
old lady
Yeah, they're
in
sleeping
Bugs
and they got
Bunny with the
curlers.
curlers in there?
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Oh, my
I
curls.
can't be. I used to be a side sleeper.
Somebody comes to the door late at night and he's
like, oh.
come on, I have my curlers
Ding
in."
dong. I just put in my curls.
You know what the
They're
most,
opening the door and trying to shimmy
would
the
like-
curls behind the door.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Just hiding behind
the
it.
most
yeah.
exciting part is how many we're going to find out how many Hasidic Jews are
Watch
fans.
this show.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
gonna be-
I
There's
want to
gonna be,
know.
like, so many tweets.
It's a
This is
legitimate
exactly what
question.
happens. We talk about some like small niche thing, and then you go into the comments, and the comments
oh.
are like, "Hey, well, I am." A
Yeah.
Hasidic
I had
Jew.
a fan one time approach me. Her, I can't remember her name, but it was a very, very Jewy name. She was very nice, and she came up and she said she was a fan, and she asked me to sign some stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a site, what's it called, like Yeshiva World? It's a big Orthodox Jewish website.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, you know, my son's a big fan, and she came up and she was, you know, gave me a pen and everything. I said, well, thank you so much. And I went to give her a hug, and she turned white as a ghost.
Oh, really?
And you can't. I didn't know. I didn't know that you
Yeah.
can't. It wasn't. This was before coronavirus, so hugging
Right.
wasn't.
That was okay
It wasn't a
still.
federal crime
Right.
at the
Still
time.
cool then.
She think you were Joe Biden?
And she was like, I can't. I was like, what do you mean? And she didn't explain it at first. She's like, Jew. Okay, got it. But instead, she was like, oh. I said, what? She's like, I hope my husband doesn't find out. I was like, what are you talking about? Your husband doesn't find out. Like, I didn't. What?
Yeah.
My hands they're above shoulder level.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, we can't touch. And I didn't know that. So this is a perfect example of I broke the rules. I'm sorry, but it doesn't stem from hate.
No, it
It
does
stems
not.
from me living in the Western world, not being a Hasidic Jew, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
And now, if I see the curls, I will refrain from hugging. I'll do the elbow.
amputee high five.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But she sent me a follow-up email. She was like, hey, just so you know, I overreacted. And I was like, I'm over this. Bye.
Well, can we correct? Can we just pause on that real quick? I mean, isn't
Sure.
that the moment where someone has made a decision to say, "Hey, she overreacted. She wanted to apologize for it. She didn't act like a crazy person and
Right.
call the police and like sue you over
Right.
it or get
Yeah.
on CNN and say, I just wanted to let you know this guy who didn't know about my culture and also
Yeah.
I didn't bother to tell him decided to do a thing that he shouldn't have realistically known was a problem."
I
mean,
should have known. I should have been more educated.
Well,
did you know that?
that was the
Did
whole
everyone?
point.
It's
No,
on
no.
you to
Don't tell me.
educate.
Did everyone
No.
here know that you cannot touch?
No.
An Orthodox Jew? Okay.
No.
All right.
No, I
good.
didn't.
Dang it! I hope.
How would I
everyone's
know
gonna say
that?
yes.
So is ignorance a defense in a court
no,
of law?
look, ignorance is a defense when you're living a life with other people and cultures that are mixed together and not being a dick.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like
That's true.
And I don't mean you. I mean
That
people
last
who
part,
are
yeah,
dealing
you don't
with it.
mean me. 'cause
Right.
Not
I don't,
being
no,
a dick
that's-
doesn't apply.
Right.
It's
Your job
always
is
somewhere
to-
in there.
Yeah.
But did I ever tell you the story about Ben Shapiro the first time I met his wife?
No.
Did
So-
you hug her too?
I think I did. I'm a hugger. I hugged Dave Rubin. He was surprised. Like, he was surprised in the sense
I think
that,
it was the ass grab that
no,
you were surprised by.
Dave Rubin was homophobic for me. We met and I hugged him, and it's like you'd think he was DMX or something.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I was listening this morning. Have you ever, he was like, I heard y'all blank N-words was having sex with the same sex. I give no love to homo thugs. I'm like, oh my god, this is horrible. And no one calls him on it. Anyway,
Nobody listens.
okay
the point
if
is
it's in a
DMX.
rhyme.
Everyone listens to DMX.
Wait.
not
The
me.
actual lyrics. The lyrics.
Wait, DMX, the
just
guy
sing
who
it.
spent like half his life in jail, is criticizing guys who have sex?
Well, you know what? They're just looking for it. They're looking for DMX.
It ain't
gonna
gay
find
if it's
him.
in jail.
They don't call him not
power thing.
They don't call him non-Teflon DMX.
can
you know how
that
nothing sticks to Donald Trump? Everything
just
sticks
facts.
to
It's
DMX. Parking tickets. And he's just parking a bicycle.
Quarter Black over here.
You can't put your bicycle here. Man, I'm an El Segundo. I thought it'd be fine. So you're going back to the clink. Oh, shit.
Quarter Black's over here speaking as though from experience. He's like, dude,
no,
if it's in
I
prison,
just
it's about
know.
a power thing. It's
I
not.
know
It's
the
not gay.
rules.
His family is very black.
I know the rules.
Who are you, Joe?
How do you know the rules?
Who are you?
I don't
You're
know. I
Nothing.
live in the
I don't know.
You're nothing.
I've claimed to be nothing. I'm just asking questions.
So here's my story about Ben Shapiro. I meet Ben Shapiro
I'm
and his
just
wife
inquisitive.
at a hotel in Manhattan Beach. I'll just say it. It was the Belmar Hotel. Wonderful hotel. Best fish and chips I've ever had in my life. And I meet his wife. She's lovely, very pretty. I'll be honest. This was like pre-famous Ben Shapiro. So I thought when I was going to meet his wife, I was like, it's a roll of the dice. She's very, very pretty, and she's very smart.
Very smart.
So I meet them like, hey, let's get out of here. We say, well, let's go down to the beach, the pier, Manhattan Beach Pier. And as we're walking down, I realize they're walking behind me. I'm like, hey, guys, come on, walk with me. They're trailing behind me. There's a pizza place where you get pizza by the slice down by the pier. And there's just a couple but they're skater kids.
Yeah.
And they all have shaved heads.
Uh-oh.
And Ben's like,
Oh.
like,
He's
what do you
in the
think
fight
they're
or flight.
neo-Nazis? They have element teeth. That guy's wearing PacSun slippers. But I understand why he'd
too
be sensitive.
fashionable to be. Yeah.
You know, like you sometimes you wonder when you read these crimes, like, how do they committed a hate crime? How
Yeah.
do they even know that they're Jewish? Well, if it were Ben Shapiro, you'd be like, well, of course they knew he was Jewish.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. But you realize, I remember going like, oh, wow, he does have some concerns that we don't necessarily, that is an example of privilege.
Yeah.
Someone who has to be careful because there could be neo-Nazis getting slices of pizza down at the Manhattan Beach Pier.
You never know.
Yeah.
You
It's
just
a known.
never-
It's a known hangout.
But the thing is, Ben he was walking behind me because he knew that if he walked at that angle, they couldn't see him, right? Because I'm taller. So he's like, he's below.
I thought it was Jew-Gentile separation. I didn't know.
Jeez.
Well, no, that's a thing.
Want to talk
What are you
about
talking about?
the busing
How-
integration
how do you
saga
know that?
in this
That's
country? Oh
horrible.
my God! Coming down on you for being black.
I know.
Anti-Semitism.
This guy.
I'm sorry.
I'm neither
about that.
anti-Semitic
Take
or
away.
racist.
Here's something,
Good
by
Lord.
the way, while we go back to the story. We have the
No.
Jocko
We are
roast.
not
Good.
moving on yet.
What do you? Okay, let me.
I
hear
was
your
defending
defense.
myself.
Defend yourself in court against the fact that you are clear. And fix your collar.
I
Fix your
did
collar,
fix my
you
collar
dope.
multiple times.
For crying out
Who even
loud.
wears this stuff
Hugh
anymore?
Hefner's rolling over in his syphilis-riddled grave.
Hey, Gerald, as the smartest person on the show,
Yes.
is allowed to say stupid shit.
It's true.
Wait, I thought you were the smartest.
No, I will say this.
person on
You are
show.
both
Wait a
very, in the realm of theology and you are very smart. You're very smart. Gerald's very smart. We just give Gerald crap because,
Yeah,
you know,
we love Gerald.
he's a little
I
He's
was
just a
fully-
racist, that's fine.
That's not true. I'm not a racist.
I just
You
wanna-
can be a very smart
And Gerald was very
racist.
clear when I asked him some questions. He would rat me out.
Yes.
He would rat me out. He would rat
Only
me
on
out.
one thing. One thing. I got your back on everything.
Yeah, honking horns at pedophiles.
No,
who live
that's
on
not what
corner lots.
I would rat you out
Okay,
for.
I'm sorry.
I never
Bill said,
would.
I
Ever.
told you. What do I do? Is I
Spawn.
go on sex offender. I go on the sex offender watch list. Me and Johnny Boy, we find, and we don't. I don't think it's a. We drive by late at night, and for us that's like 10:30, and we honk the horn.
Right.
And people say, well, don't you disrupt the neighborhood? We find very wealthy pedophiles who live on corner lots.
There you
so
go.
nobody else is disrupted. And you know what? Listen, I'm sorry. It's a small price to pay for the years of smiles on your faces, which were unwarranted. So now, honk, okay?
Wow.
And I don't
would
drive
not rat
up,
you out.
I don't drive up in a Yaris. I make sure we drive up in a big old SUV
There you
with
go.
serious honk.
I thought about
it's like the
air
Polar
horn.
Express up
You should
there.
do the air horn
Yeah,
stuff.
and you do it in your Spawn costume.
So has Gerald ever complained about you honking at his
No,
house? or-
never.
He said he would rat me out.
Never.
He said he would rat me out. He's like, I would rat you out if I was asked. I'm like, what?
I can't believe that.
No, I would. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That is a lie, sir.
Right. Yeah. All we need to do is get a
for
black guy
something else.
to interrogate him and you get nervous. Sweaty palms.
Spit it right out.
Black
Here's
Jewish
something else
guy.
while we're talking about healthcare professionals, while we're talking about medical advice, right? Google, the Alphabet, Google, it's Alphabet is the parent
Alphabet,
company,
yeah.
Google, YouTube,
Google.
Facebook. They're removing these doctors who are seeing patients, right? These are doctors saying, hey, listen, this is what we've seen with our patients. This is what we've seen with our testing. This is the actual mortality rate. This is what we think would be the best course of action going forward. Cannot be allowed. You must go.
Right.
But today at Vice, right now, there's an article, an entire article advising, prescribing their readers on how to use ketamine, which is a horse tranquilizer club drug and a very dangerous scheduled substance. I know this because I've known people who've gone to ketamine clinics. It's used now in antidepressant therapy. It is very dose dependent, and it has to be monitored at an airtight level. And Vice is like, listen, you probably shouldn't do ketamine, but if you are, let me break it down for you. This
Let me explain exactly how to
feed.
do it.
Is this going to be barred from search on Google? It's instructing kids. What's next? How to make pipe bombs?
I know. So they need to stop censoring stuff like this, and especially because they didn't even watch the doctors, because at the very beginning they said, guys, all we're doing is presenting to you information. We're not saying who's right. We're not saying who's wrong. We're presenting information that we have now. We don't have models anymore. We actually have hard data.
Yeah.
That's all they said. And everybody's coming out against them. There were two medical agencies that said that you don't listen to these guys. That just came out yesterday as well, kind of slamming them. And I was like, why? These guys aren't saying that we need to upend the economy.
Hold on, CNN. Sorry, Gerald, I have to interrupt you. Poppy Harlow. By the way, I will say this. Poppy Harlow still looks very fetching, even with the crappy home makeshift studio. Like 4K, for example, like destroyed Cammie Diaz's career. She's done. Sure. Right. But in this case, a lot of late night hosts look really crappy. She looks great. She's a very pretty lady. I just wish she weren't on the the side of the spectrum with commies. But right now they're saying. Oh my gosh, that guy! Look, it's like his nose goes down to his chin. It's a bizarre.
Why is his mouth so small?
I know.
Real Bert from Sesame Street.
It's like his nose was like, "Hey, chin, I'm gonna come over." Mouth, get the fuck out of here.
Always getting in the way.
Next, this is one thing you'll notice, by the way. They're moving on to the next critical situations, emergencies. Right. Medication shortages are the next big crisis. As though, by the way, the crises weren't averted by private industry. We had no masks. Right. Well, not only can we sanitize masks now, not only we have companies that stepped up and started making masks, but you can also make them from a T-shirt, including the one from the mystery box available at the Laddle'sCutterMerchShop.com. And now they're saying there's going to be a shortage of medication. There is no shortage of medication. Right now, hospitals are not over capacity. As a matter of fact, they have to lay off and furlough workers. It's time to let these heroes, as you refer to them, heroes on the front lines, it's time to let the heroes start making money. That means they should be able to go back to other surgeries, other procedures. And by the way, kids aren't going into the pediatric wards right now because they're afraid of getting coronavirus.
I will say, so the one thing that I will say that is possibly supportive of the idea that there will be some types of commodity shortages is the fact that we shut down the dang economy for months.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So it's like, wait a minute, we shut down the economy, and now the economy is shut down.
What?
We have to restart that thing.
We can't get stuff at all.
So
what?
Go
ahead.
A very interesting point that may play into that. The doctor said, what do you think happens to your immune system when you shut it down completely based on isolation? You're shutting down your exposure to all these positive bacteria that you get that help your immune system.
And just to be clear,
over a month and a half.
Let me stop you here. Just to be clear, we're not pulling a diamond in silicon saying, don't wash your hands.
No,
We're
not
saying
at all.
wash your hands, but there is a worry.
Well, there's a worry that once we reopen things and we are exposed again, will we have somewhat weakened immune systems? And maybe that's not a huge problem, but statistically we could see a problem because now we don't have as many doctors and nurses at the hospitals.
Right.
We may have some medicine shortages because we shut the entire economy down.
Right.
And we may have more people getting sick because they're now going to get exposed to things that they haven't been exposed to in a month and a half or 2 months.
That's an example too as to why, and then we have to move on to Joe Biden being a rapist. That's a good you were talking about Sweden. And we've played this really conservatively on air. We said, listen, Sweden didn't do a lockdown at all. They didn't even quarantine the sick, which is what a quarantine is meant to be.
Right.
And their numbers weren't worse than most of Europe, and they weren't better. For example, it wasn't nearly as bad as Belgium, France, Italy, Spain, places where they did implement full lockdown. Sweden did nothing. And now you were just saying this, that the New York Times had an article.
Yep, New York Times.
What was it?
So the article was talking about, it was almost, the title was really funny because you could have added a question mark at the end. It was like, Sweden doesn't follow rest of Europe and guidelines and is doing fine. And then like you actually look at the article itself, and it talks about how, they really isolated the fact that it's striking older folks, like we've talked about, and a lot of folks are talking about, and how you can really aim towards protecting.
Striking older folks?
Striking.
Like coronavirus is showing up in sock and boppers. Bah, bah, ha, ha, there you go, Ethel. Bah, pop. Oh no!
It
It's a
is.
new knockout game.
Literally.
Corona
Not
has a
good.
mean left hook.
Boom. Right to the
Right
kisser.
in the kisser.
Oh, got you. 1 second ahead.
Shoot.
You got it.
Yes.
When my Asian
I
lawyer
win.
beats me. I'm
I
distracted by Poppy
Nope.
Harlow.
I know.
That
She's
shirt
distracting.
looks busty. Okay, go ahead.
So the long and short of it, and I encourage everyone to go read the article, but it does take an approach that says, hey, when you look at the data, certainly there are some amount of...
It could be a penetrating insight. Okay.
Not from you. So
Never.
let me before we
This is
move
a bit
on.
of a
So I will
softball.
say, and then we'll go into Joe Biden. I think we need to hold him to the same standard as we held Brett Kavanaugh. I think that we need to be consistent. So of course, he's innocent until a court of law proves him
course,
guilty.
yes.
That being said, we are light years ahead of the evidence that we had with Kavanaugh, which is really just as the cops identified it. I would never say lying whore Christy Ford. So.
In the police.
After more women, they came forward to sort of corroborate Tara Reid's story, not Josie and the Pussycats, other Tara Reid, spelled
Different
like
one?
Dwayne Reed for New Yorkers who go to the pharmacies, and for everyone else, just spelled like reading with an E. Biden held a women's town hall
Good on him.
where he never addressed any of the accusations.
Bad on him.
Which I understand is often a political strategy, but Joe Biden, your history of sniffing isn't going to go away.
You can't hide that.
You can't bury it on a Friday.
He has a
Like, I
sensitive
just dropped this.
olfactory.
On Monday, they're still going, wait, he sniffed them? So he didn't address the accusations. He did, however, fall asleep while Hillary was talking. Here's a clip.
Are women. And 1 out of 3 jobs has been classified as so this is an issue.
Still eyes closed.
Young and old.
Still
Meditating.
down.
Resting his
Still better than
eyes.
his last debate
I
performance.
think he's just used to looking at the floor when he's around her.
Right.
And just being cowed.
No, that's
Yeah.
because he has mirrored shoes.
And, yeah, one of my favorite things is that Hillary Clinton will have to be called secretary for the rest of her life.
You know she has a hate
coming out of
man.
this
Kind
whole
of pissing
thing.
her off a little bit. Like,
She is so
She's
mad.
going to be the old folks. I'm going to be like, hey, could you get me a coffee? Not that kind.
Not administrative assistant.
Hey, so is there like a country that we think that if you were appointed as the ambassador, it would be punishment? And could we
yes.
petition Trump to assign Hillary to take that position?
Like, yeah, make him ambassador to Ghana.
Yeah, just
Or
somewhere
like
like
the Federated
not fun.
States of Micronesia.
Yeah, I love how Half Asian Bill, my lawyer, kept it general so we
He
didn't
did.
offend any country, and then I just vilified an entire nation of people.
You did.
I don't know anything about
Nice.
Ghana other than it was the first country Barack Obama visited, and all of a sudden I'm like, what's Ghana? This isn't the top of his priority. It's reversing the Mexico City policy and going to Ghana. Really? You know there's a recession, Barack.
Going,
the good
gone.
people.
I think it would be
Good
funny if they appointed
Wow.
her to Russia.
Yeah. Oh, Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about Joe Biden when he doesn't win.
Do
play.
gonorrhea.
I mean, it'll be funny to point him to anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
in fact, we could be like, you're just the ambassador to this old folks' home. Just go on in.
I think we should make him an ambassador to a country that we proactively don't like.
yes.
Like, here you go. It's like releasing just honey badgers of dementia.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not an international law scholar, but I think it would be a war crime to sick anyone.
It's a violation of the Geneva Who stopped? No.
Every time.
And he's using hollow points. You don't respect the convention at all. So, Reid, by the way, she joined several other women who've been accusing Biden of inappropriate touching now as a senator since 1993. Okay, so there have been several women who've come forward. And obviously, we have videographic evidence of him sniffing small children, which I guess is circumstantial. Then on a podcast, March 25th, she added details about him penetrating her. Now I'm using
Don't say the word.
with his hands. And then she filed a police report. So she actually filed a police report in April. Then in April, 3 more people come forward to corroborate the story. They said that she told them about the assault back when it happened. Her brother, Colin, her former neighbor, Linda Lacasse, a Biden supporter, by the way, and a former co-worker, Lorraine Sanchez. Something else, April 24th, this happened in 2020. I just have to specify the year because we're jumping back and forth
Right,
like it's an Aronofsky film. Or Nolan. Take your pick.
Nolan.
The
No,
ones who like gimmicks. Aronofsky, you've made nothing good. Okay, your career was saved by Mickey Rourke's performance in The Wrestler. It wasn't a good film, and Marissa Tomei took her top off. Do you have any idea how hard that is to do?
Movie idea. Time.
And moving back and forth
Twist.
through it.
Oh, it's precious. So this is where there was footage from Larry King Live, which had Tara Reid's mother calling in, which was corroborated. It was what's funny is it's one of those things where you can't really say it's confirmed, but when you watch the media, no one argues with it.
Yeah.
They just go like, well, they said this, and
moving on.
It's her mom. It's clearly her mom. We know that it's her mother. And this was Tara Reid's mother asking, of course, Larry King for advice about her daughter's experience with inappropriate behavior in Washington, dating back to '93. What matters about that? Google Play removed that from the Larry King catalog. We talked about this, right?
Crazy.
They removed one episode, I think, on August 11th, and for some reason, they renumbered the rest of the episode. So there was a meeting, and there were a series of decisions. Finally, now we have a total of 8 women who've accused Joe Biden of sexual misconduct, inappropriate touching, and what really matters, of course, is, listen, like I said, we should hold him to the same standard that we held Kavanaugh. This is way more evidence than we ever had with Kavanaugh because the stories all corroborate each other. It's all consistent. With Christine Ford, she started naming people who weren't there in places that didn't even exist, kind of like Joe Biden. And if we're going to hold Joe Biden, however, to his own standard, in 2018, he said, believe all women. So if we hold him, but this is what's remarkable to me. If we're going to hold him to his standard, first off, it was stupid to say that. You shouldn't believe anything.
No,
you shouldn't
not
believe
at all
women, all men, all children, all Asians, all whites. You shouldn't just say, blanket statement, believe all, insert whatever it is here, because inevitably some of them are going to be lying asshats. There's no way around it. But this is the difference between being principled and trying to pander for votes. So if we hold him to his own standard, he has to necessarily address these claims right now and provide some evidence, which, listen, he doesn't need to provide evidence if it's a court of law, because I think we're past the statute of limitations. He's innocent. But when he was calling for these investigations into other people,
it doesn't mean he's innocent. It just means he's
it just means
he's not guilty.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's really what I find to be just completely unabashedly ironic is when Joe Biden's spokesperson was asked about this, they said, we do think everyone should have the right to say what they want to say. Women should have the right to be able to speak out about accusations. The reporters and media should vigorously investigate. And FYI, she's a liar.
Right.
And that was it was one sentence.
Right.
And I thought to myself, wow, you guys really did box yourselves in here by throwing out any semblance of justice or evidence or really doing an investigation or anything like that. And so what's most interesting as well is the Bernie bros and Bernie ladies.
They think they're going to trot out Bernie at convention.
They do.
I think if Bernie is trotted out at convention, it's just going to be the curtain pulled, and you're just going to see his shoes hanging from a noose like Brooks and Shawshank. There's no way they're naming him.
Fade to black.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Who they're going to get in place. But look, how long have you been saying it, questioning Joe's, whether he's all there?
I think it's sad. I don't harbor any ill will toward him.
Sad.
I think it's really sad. He's like a fighter who's past his prime, and you have coaches like, "You're great, kid. No one can touch you." It's like, no, listen, you really should. You should throw in the towel. And if it were my dad, if it were one of our relatives, I'd be like, "Come on, you shouldn't be doing this anymore. It's dangerous.
You never should have been doing it in the first place. You knew you were going to have some kind of problem like this when you went into it." But so at the time that the Kavanaugh situation came to light, everybody was out there, like Alyssa Milano, everybody else is tweeting, we can't have this kind of person, a rapist.
Right.
They're using very strong language in office or deciding, any kind of.
And do you know how we know he's a rapist? Sometimes he drinks beer on Tuesdays.
He does drink beer, right?
Tuesdays.
So now we have somebody running for the presidency. They think that this is the most important election in the history of the United States because we're run by a tyrannical orange man, right?
Yeah.
And they're not saying anything at all about this. I thought it was important to not have a rapist in office. I thought that was the line that you set in the sand. It wasn't just about believe everybody.
Right.
It was about we don't want this guy there because he's horrible and he's a rapist.
Think about this for a second, though, the line of questioning, right? Right now, there are all these corroborating witnesses. People, by the way, many of whom are saying, well, you know what, I still will probably vote for Joe Biden because I hate Donald Trump. And no one has investigated. There hasn't been a line of questioning. Whereas with Brett Kavanaugh, the authorities came out and said, you know what, she described a place that we couldn't find. It doesn't really exist. And the therapist said, actually, this isn't the same as what went out in the Washington Post. And it wasn't the same story as she gave on the stand. And then there were some people who said, I don't know what she's talking about. I wasn't even there. And so the line of questioning got all the way down to the point, I think it was Cory Booker asking Brett Kavanaugh, do you ever like to have a Schlitz on weekdays? Do you ever find yourself visiting the Applebee's happy hour, perhaps? Any earlier than Thursday? I rest my case. Joe Biden sniffed a child.
Yeah.
You don't even need a video. You can just search the GIF.
This is
not
not
even
surprising
once.
anybody.
And I hate being that guy who just says double standard or the but in this case, it really does matter because they actively tried to destroy somebody's life.
Well, they
with
did.
Brett Kavanaugh. They accused him of being a gang rapist
Yes.
for crying out loud. Gang rapist.
It's worse than, I guess, just being a rapist. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's.
Yes, it's worse than being a rapist.
Well, I don't know. It's
Why
like-
is that even in question?
I think it's bad
He
enough.
seems conflicted.
I don't know how much further down the list you can go. I don't know if there's a new bottom that we
Okay,
can
find the bottom, then go below that, find another barrel, and there's gang
then there's-
rapists. Gerald.
Well, look, what I'm saying too is that with
Gerald is not going to survive prison.
why am I going to
down
jail?
day one.
I haven't done anything wrong.
You've done a lot of things
Let's
wrong.
go. Let's go back to like 30 minutes ago.
When I was accused of being a racist and I was not.
Wow, this got really uncomfortable.
Yes.
He's still chewing
That's
on
exactly
that.
what you meant by there.
So I do like the point you're making though, Gerald, because when you look at Joe Biden and you think about, okay, sure, Brett Kavanaugh was going through an appointment process, they needed to do an investigation, he had a certain role, they were going to do what they're going to do, but the way that was approached was he is already guilty, it doesn't matter, any evidence that is against it we should throw out and take only the evidence that as speculative and as weak and thin as it may be, and we're going to use that to be the end of it, including you drink beer on Tuesdays.
Right.
And then when you look here at Biden, we talked about this before, the little amount of coverage in mainstream media, and especially those that are kind of very forward-looking on the progressive side, is terrible. I will say, so I think I've mentioned this before, I read a lot of both conservative and non-conservative sites, and Slate actually had a really good, Slate.com had a really good article that was just damning.
I thought you were going to say it was about how to inject ketamine. But yes.
Well,
It was right next to that article?
That was down in the culture side.
right, yeah.
But they just straight up, they were one of the first ones to run the information about the neighbor corroborating and giving all of that when CNN wasn't covering it, when the New York Times wasn't covering it, when the Washington Post, not Washington Times, Washington Post was not covering it as well. And now these other mainstream media are saying, hey, we better start addressing this because we're going to lose credibility.
Oh.
Right. You know what would be the greatest twist of events? Is convention rolls around and they trot out John Kasich. Everyone's like, shit! This guy! They make a decision that guarantees everyone is unhappy.
Oh, my God.
John Kasich.
I think they've already done that with Joe Biden.
I would love to have John Kasich trot it out. All right, we are going to go to a quick commercial break but first we have to read some chat, and then we're going to have the live roast from our Jocko correspondent on Jocko Willink. But let's go to some chat here. What do we have audio-wise?
Yeah, so we have Red Ray says, good morning, Mug Club. I'm really going to miss these morning shows. Makes work tolerable. Thanks for all the great content this month. It got me to join up.
Well, thank you very much. And
We're
we've
glad to
traced your
have
IP
you.
address, and we've alerted your employer.
She's working at home.
Thanks for
That's not the intent of this program.
Whoops. Who knew we worked for China
All
and
of a
big
sudden,
tech?
he has some AirPod Pros. His boss is
Yeah.
none the wiser. I will do my part.
We have another one. Good morning. Good morning, new Mug Club member here. I love the morning Mug Club shows. I love your roundup of all the BS lamestream news. Got
Oh, good use of lamestream. You
That's
got
good.
him.
Cannot recover.
him. Yes.
Do your kids know
They
about
are
your great
down
jokes?
for the count.
John-
Right now,
yeah.
I'm telling CNN, stay down!
All right. We got
the
one more
towel.
here. John Romero says, thanks for all the great content in April. Really helped drown out all the constant negative press. Proud Mug Club member.
Thank you very much, John Romero. We really appreciate it. And I tell you what, our Jocko correspondent has been very good to us this whole Smooth Manny, this whole month. And he's been very much looking forward to this, having to read the Jocko roasts that we have coming up after this commercial break that we wrote for him. Stay tuned to Jocko Roast in just a minute. Black Rifle Coffee.
BlackRifleCoffee.com. BlackRifleCoffee.com/Crowder. BlackRifleCoffee.com. BlackRifleCoffee.com. BlackRifleCoffee.com/Crowder. 20% off.
And we are back. Thank you very much. Glad. Where did Gerald leave?
He
Gerald
booked
asked,
it.
"Can he go?" Did you leave?
booked it. He got
You
out of
asked,
here.
"Can you go to the bathroom?" And I said no.
No.
You left me here with John King's face.
I peed on my hands.
Oh, boy.
I got water. I didn't use the restroom.
He's got really a lot of big swings and a miss.
I heard he cured coronavirus.
The only thing it's actually going to be, it's going to be hard for me to hand Smooth Manny the jokes here, I realize. So
you want me to come down and hand it?
you know what? No, I'll have an audio aid. Do you think once you get the levels in there, we're good? Okay. All right. So do we have the stinger, of course, for
we do.
All right. So listen, for folks who don't know, I should mention this. Our Facebook feed got taken down by running for running the clip of those doctors.
Yeah.
So
It took down
violation of guidelines.
F you, Facebook.
Right here. Well, Facebook, you can fill in the blanks. So
use your imagination.
they don't care. They're not here, right?
They can't hear us anymore.
Well, it's a good thing. I don't really like to keep the company of serial rapists.
Whoa.
There you go.
That's all they do.
Whoa.
It's like, get a new thing, Zuckerberg. Stop with the rape.
So is that worse than gang rape?
Jeepers,
Like,
I
so
don't
it's rapist?
Is that a barrel
It's
below?
just more unsightly because it's Zuckerberg.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I don't know. He could be doing it with other people. He's a horrible person. Okay. So we do have actually two come in here right now. This is our final installment of the Jocko Correspondent to roast. None other than Jocko Willink today is Smooth Manny, Jocko Correspondent. Let's go. All right. There he is, our Jocko Correspondent. How have you been doing, Smooth Manny? Hold on a second. We need to get the is this microphone on?
Yeah, we get it pointed out.
I've been doing fantastic.
It's not that the microphone isn't on, it's that you need to talk into it.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess, who should we have? You know what? Half Asian Bill, let's have you hand him the jokes here, the roast. So we'll have Half Asian Bill move over there. You can just stand right next to him. So here's what you're going to do, Half Asian Bill. This is the setup, okay? And then he's going to read this, and he's going to turn him around. So these are the right order of the Jocko roast. So Manny, by the way, anything new, Smooth Manny, on Jocko?
Oh, like Jocko updates?
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Like
It's
what?
been like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
if you thought that doing 3 podcasts for Jocko was enough,
Yeah.
he's doing a 4th podcast.
Why?
Whoa.
Called the Thread Podcast.
The Thread podcast.
Thread Podcast.
Okay.
And this deals, Jocko Podcast isn't chronological.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually going into subjects specifically chronologically.
I wish I loved anything as much as you love Jocko.
Oh, and I almost forgot.
Yeah.
If you thought 4 podcasts during quarantine was enough, he just released a new book.
Really?
The Code.
Wow.
Yes.
I think we can probably get you to go work for Jocko at some point. He's the
Yeah.
cello to your yo-yo ma. Okay, Half Asian Bill. You will pass him to these one by one. So these are the roasts of Jocko Willink. Why is Bill
over here.
walking around here?
He
He
doesn't want to be on camera.
Gosh, that's why the Asian driving. Apparently, no sense of direction. All right, hold on.
Point
one
A
second
to
here.
point B.
Okay, hold on. Let me
Shortest
move this so we
distance.
got this very clear. You guys can. All right, you ready?
Yeah, we're
There we
set.
go.
So you're going to read the front side of this card and then the second side of the card. Because we do this out of love. You only
do.
roast the ones
Right.
you love. So, okay, Jocko roast for Jocko Willink. Number 1, Smooth Manny.
Jocko is popular for the slogan, discipline equals freedom.
That's true.
Yeah, very much.
Most importantly, in his case, the freedom to conduct weekly costumed meetings of his Liza Minnelli fan club.
Liza Minnelli fan
Oh.
club.
Liza.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, that's pretty, well, okay, all right. Let's get into the groove of this one right
I'm
here.
sure if I got that reference, that would be really
You know what?
funny.
Actually, you can just hand them to Manny, and then you can go
Yeah.
back, Bill. So
Yeah,
Manny,
yeah.
just once you read them, then you can just
Just throw 'em
Turn
out,
over,
yeah.
throw 'em away.
All right.
There you go.
Got it.
That way, Bill, we have you in that show. Okay, Jocko roast number 2.
This one doesn't even make sense.
Well, hold on a second. Let me see. What are you doing here?
Of course,
so
we're.
nervous because you don't trust me. Jocko's not going to chase you.
He's not on the
All
line.
right, there you go. That's
He's
number
not
2.
here.
Of course, no, that works. Just read it. I know it's not your first language or second language, but
Third or fourth.
Of course, we're laughing,
we like to laugh.
but there's nothing funny about male pattern cleftness.
Oh, geez.
Wow,
that is
man.
tough.
Why would
Wow.
you say something like that?
I don't know what that means. Jocko broadcasts. I don't. I will Google it as soon as I get out of here. Jocko broadcasts his popular podcast in black and white,
It's true, he does.
hearkening back to a simpler time before the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
Oh, wow. Racist.
That's great. Why would
I
you
don't
say
think
that?
I like
That's the implication.
Yeah.
I start every day doing the Jocko workout.
Oh.
Wake up really early. I post a picture of my watch on Instagram.
Yeah.
Then I go back to bed until noon.
Well, that's just don't discredit his hard work there, Smooth.
I
Man.
don't know.
Brando,
if
don't say
You
that.
gotta
that's
have
not
beauty sleep, you know?
reliable.
What Jocko Willink calls strong parenting,
Yeah.
Child Protective Services refers to as minor infraction.
Yeah.
Minor, though. That's good.
Minor.
Very
Don't you have,
minor.
have stuff there on your board there, quarterback Garrett?
Yeah.
Wake up.
Oh, yeah.
Jocko Willink was born in Connecticut and moved to California before serving multiple tours of commendable service in Iraq.
It is commendable.
Yes, very much so.
Work,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because Coronado wasn't far enough away from his gay thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Roasted.
Jeez, Manning.
A hard roast.
Jocko's biography is nothing short of awe-inspiring.
It is.
Noting that he's achieved the honorable rank of lieutenant commander in the Navy SEALs, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah.
and an impressive height of 5'11".
True. All true.
The latter statement of which the Washington Post has rated 4 Pinocchios.
Oh.
No.
Sorry, Manny.
Sorry, buddy.
I mean, I'm 5'6".
These would be horrible if Jocko was here.
Yeah, this might be rougher than we thought. By the way, they don't get any softer.
No.
Jocko's service record is nothing short of incredible.
It is.
He has been honored with a Silver Star, Bronze Star, and his crowning achievement, his graduation certificate from Mike Pence's Electro Camp for the Formerly Homosexual.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. But, you know,
Pretty spicy.
he just, you know, you
Jeez.
have
On
to
the nose.
pad your resume.
Graduated. That's
Whatever
good.
you have.
Graduated.
It jokes. It jokes.
What you focus on, right?
Yeah.
You
I
walked.
mean, he is the best vice president. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Jocko famously turned down drugs on Joe Rogan's podcast, which was met widely with praise.
Yeah, it was.
But should come as no surprise because you can't smoke trenbolone.
Oh, yeah. PEDs.
Yeah.
Heads.
In combat, Jocko was a formidable foe, striking fear into all combatants who stood before him. In Iraq, he was known as
That's Arabic, yeah.
Quwaqili Medish,
That's good enough.
which in its native Arabic translates to Doodly Do Right banged a serial killer.
Okay.
Did he just say doodly?
Doodly.
That's how,
I'll save you, Newell.
that's how it was written.
We must save her. And it's Snidely Whiplosh. Yeah.
How many bottles of Jocko Discipline Go does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Discipline Go is supplement. Oh, I don't know. It's not many.
Right. Good stuff.
None. Because that shit doesn't do anything.
Okay.
Zing.
How do you feel, Manny?
Yeah.
Good, Manny? Feel pretty good?
Manny,
He doesn't believe any of these things.
Yeah, he's just
Sure,
barreling
yeah.
through it. I appreciate that. Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about how I feel later. Jocko Willink has now made a second career as a business consultant, and through the power of structure and strong leadership, helps identify and turn around struggling businesses.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Echelon
Very
front,
nice.
yeah.
Unfortunately, he turned them all into military surplus stores and Chippendales.
Is that like a combination store?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
no, I don't think.
they're
Well,
versatile.
in the inventory room.
Oh, okay. In the back. Okay.
Next to the airsoft, they have the Thunder Down Under.
Ooh.
Which number is this, Smith
boy.
Manny?
13.
Okay, well, how many? We have 18,
We have
right?
16.
16. We whittled them down from like 35.
A whole bunch.
As of 2020, Jocko has embarked on yet another journey as an entrepreneur of premium men's denim wear.
Oh, wow, that's
His
true.
jeans
Yeah, that's
include
good, yeah.
premium American denim, 4-way stretch for an athletic fit, and contact tracing software to notify Jocko of your real-time availabilities in public rest stops.
Oh, wow. Well, that seems
I
more
think
like
there's like a theme going.
that's more like a
I like
Craigslist
those.
ad.
Contrary to popular belief, Jocko Willink doesn't like the smell of his own farts. He just prefers them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Listen, everyone has preferences.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
His line of men's work boots are also of the highest quality. That's true.
Yeah.
With his signature footwear consisting of
through
premium
it.
American full-grain leather handmade copper rivets, as well as built-in 4-inch lifts.
Well, is this the last one?
Right there.
This is the last
Okay,
one.
this is the last one. All right, the last
Right.
roast of Jocko Willink from our Jocko correspondent, Smooth Manny.
Jocko wears his notoriety as a badge of honor.
He does.
He is wanted in 3 countries for war crimes, 2 regions for questioning, and the state of Maine for an outstanding late fee on Magic Mike 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
The
Thank you.
sequel, yeah.
This has been the Jocko roast.
Yeah,
We
right.
appreciate it. And
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Smooth Manny?
I'm just upset that it took an entire team of writers 30 minutes to come up with Navy SEAL gay jokes.
Well, it actually took far longer than 30 minutes. But Jocko Willink, what do you think about the roast, sir?
How's it going, Manny?
Yeah, Manny, talk to your, tell him that this was your idea. Jocko, do you have anything to say there to Smooth Manny?
No, I got nothing to say to Manny.
Okay, well, we appreciate it. Thanks for being a good,
It works.
Now that looks like it's he got that at a Dollar Tree. I feel like you're gonna push and it's gonna go in. Well, Jocko, Manny, do you have anything you would like to say to your hero, Smooth Manny, to Jocko Willink?
I am very sorry, sir.
Please don't fight Manny. I appreciate the support, and I actually think I might recognize why you're a fan of me, because I didn't understand any of their jokes either. So,
well, listen, I understand it. He's a brave man, but it takes an even braver man to admit his leadership of the Liza Minnelli fan club. So, Jocko, you're not there yet, but eventually you will be. We appreciate you, brother, being here with us. This is the last installment of Good Morning Mug Club. Tomorrow, 4-hour live stream of CNN. Not looking forward to it, but we will see you tomorrow. When does it start tomorrow? Does it start at 5? When's the briefings?
The briefings are usually 5 their time, so yeah.
All right, just check. We'll have it. Go to liveofbetter.com/schedule. Once the briefing is announced, we will stream for 4 hours and live check CNN, live fact check. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful month. It's actually been a terrible month for me, but it's been wonderful. The show is the best part. All of the work is what's difficult. You guys make it worth it. We will see you tomorrow, last day of Mug Club quarantine. God bless.
The